What's up YouTube? Today I'm reviewing the Anbernic RG Nano, the tiniest retro gaming emulator on the market that is still playable. At least that is what other people said. So let's find out if that is really the case here. I ordered my Anbernic Nano directly from the Anbernic site during a great Black Friday sale. Usually this device is sold for $50 to $70 depending on where you live. Inside the box we have of course the Anbernic Nano itself. I went with the red one, but there's also the blue and the black purple-ish color option. The package comes with a keychain, a charging cable and a USB jack converter if you want to play with headphones. The Anbernic Nano has an aluminium alloy to make sure it doesn't get damaged when you throw it onto your keychains. The battery should last you about 2.5 hours, but this highly depends on many things, such as which emulator you're playing, but also the sound volume and brightness of course. On the bottom left we have a keychain hole. This is where you can hook the keychain. I personally don't really like to wear it as a keychain, but as a gimmick it is genius of course. We have the D-pad for directions, but also a A, B, X, Y button, and the start and select button of course. I have mid-sized hands and I can easily push the buttons. When you're playing a game that requires a lot of button smashing, I think you might be experiencing a bit of frustration here. On the right side we have the on and off button together with the SD card holder. Mine came with over 5,000 games. On top we have of course the L and R button together with the USB-C charging port. The 4 screws on the back hold everything together. The music is played through a great speaker sitting in the front of this device, and more on that later in the video. If you want to play with your headphones you can use the converter on top. I noticed mine was a bit loosey, but it worked. The charging cable kinda had the same problem, but it turned out not to be a problem when charging. But what turned out to be the real problem is up next. When I received this device I didn't open the package, played for a while and then made the review. What you are seeing here is actual footage of me unpacking this thing for the first time and trying to play. I tried to turn on the RG Nano, and as you can see the screen shows that the device is turned on. However, it stayed black for a really long time. So I knew I was in big trouble. So happy as I was before, this becomes a big disappointment. I waited a little longer, but then I gave up. I contacted Anbernic and I looked online for videos how to fix this. And it turned out that I needed to completely wipe the whole SD card using multiple programs on my MacBook. Flash the SD card, remove all the games, and then finally I was able to play the Anbernic Nano. A huge disappointment, but I'm really glad mine started working again. I found many videos online with people explaining all different things on how to fix this. The thing I described worked for me, but I think this is a really big problem for Anbernic and something you need to keep in mind. Of course this is not going to happen with every device that is shipped, but it was a big bummer for me. Now let's get back to the review. Since I didn't have the time to record because of a vacation, I do have the opportunity to play this device before continuing to record, and I learned a lot. And as you can see it perfectly turns on and goes directly into the game I last played. With a soft touch on the on and off button we can open a menu where we can change a few in-game settings. And keep in mind, not every emulator on the Anbernic Nano supports this function. Currently I'm playing a GBA game, but the Anbernic had a perfect square aspect ratio. We can change this by choosing different aspect ratios options to have a better fit. This specific emulator also gives you the opportunity to use save slots, which is something that I really love. There is a smart save on this device, but I always love to double save using in-game save and save slots. We can also adjust brightness, but I usually play on the lower side because it saves battery, but it is also pretty bright in default already. After exiting the game, we have a few different things we can do. In total there are 20 different emulators to choose from, and currently the Nano plays PS1 games and earlier, including the famous SP, GBA and earlier Game Boys as well. There's also a clock and music player function, which I rarely use. We can also change the background by I think over 100 different images, if not more. Including a cat and other animals. The RetroArch emulators are the ones that I'm currently playing, which in my opinion is just a better version of the regular default emulators. Within the main menu of the RG Nano, we can access again the quick menu with brightness and volume control, but also the complete shutdown option. By long holding the power on-off button, we are starting screen of the Nano, which is the clock. From here you can choose to completely turn off the Anbernic Nano or to start your new adventure. Let's test the sound a little bit. And as you can hear, it is pretty clear and loud. I also didn't experience any lag using the RetroArch emulators. When using the default emulators, I experienced a lot of lag and pixelated screens. Maybe this was because my device was a little buggy from the start. That I don't really know. Down the line, it is a great device, and after playing for multiple hours I can fairly say this one is the best smaller retro gaming device out there. It's perfect for on the go and it easily fits in your pocket. You can also choose to play with one hand if the game allows you to do that. And as you can see, everything runs smoothly. And yes, it is tiny, and after playing for 3 straight hours your hands get cramped. But what did you expect anyways? It's a gimmick, perfect for playing a few 20 minutes here and there. If you want something that is capable of doing more, I highly recommend the Anbernic RG 35XX Plus. The screen is much bigger and it can also run more emulators, including Nintendo DS and PS2 games. And has more buttons on the back to support this. My final conclusion is that the Anbernic RG Nano is a great gimmick and guarantees hours of fun and new adventures on the go or at home. What are your thoughts on this tiny mighty device? Let me know in the comments down below.